So we're looking at the slow decline of the nation of Israel as they presumed that God was on their side. They brought the Ark of the Covenant, the God box, onto the battlefield, assuming that God was with them. The Philistines rallied and won, and the Ark of God was captured. Hophni and Phinehas were killed, and the Phinehas's wife named her son, the glory has departed, Ichabod. And that presumption that God is on our side is something that I think we do all the time. And of course, at one level, it's true. He is on our side. He is for us, not against us. But when we start to say that he's on my side and not yours, then we start to get into trouble. The Philistines had the same issue. Presuming that not that God was on their side, but that he was the same as all the other gods, that he could be added to the pantheon in the temple of Dagon, and that everything would run swimmingly. But Dagon, the stone statue, falls over twice. A second time, head and arms come off, and they have to step over the threshold of the temple when they come to worship, because even the stones cry out, which I thought was just a great line in terms of the worship of Dagon to God, because God is bigger than Dagon. When the two gods come into the same space, there's only one winner, and the Philistines thought they could appropriate God to their side. And of course they can't. And then as the ark gets taken back to the Israelites, eventually it arrives at a particular house of Abinadab, and he appoints Eleazar as a priest and they as a guardian, really, of the God box, and they just start to host the presence of God. And I guess the question is all about, how do we host the presence of God? What does that look like for us? What is it like to host the presence? And who else in Scripture does that really well? And as they host the presence of God, then the nation begins to change and people start to cry out to God, until in 1 Samuel chapter 7, Samuel calls all the people together and they there worship. They commit themselves to God. They put away their idols. They say that we're on God's side. And in the battle that happens as they meet together, then they win, and they win because now they're on God's side rather than appropriating him to theirs. So just a really good opportunity to talk about battles, about winning, about how we get onto God's side, what that looks like, what the mechanism, if you like, is for making sure we're staying on God's side rather than appropriating him to ours. And I think it could be a really interesting discussion and hopefully very helpful too in the battles that we face. Bless you. Have a good time as you talk about this stuff, and I'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye.